Nottingham Forest are staying up in the Premier League, and all I can say is, I told you so. Welcome along to yet another video, guys. Today we are talking about Nottingham Forest securing Premier League football for another season at the City Ground. It's been an incredible journey, and they did it with a win over Arsenal, which has also handed the Premier League title to Manchester City. Nottingham Forest are kingmakers. They have popped the crown on Manchester City's heads. I know Manchester City winning the league seemed inevitable, but it's funny that Nottingham Forest are the team to have done it for them. We're focusing on Nottingham Forest today though, guys, and like I say, I have backed them to stay up this season even through hard times. I just looked at that club and that manager and had a feeling that they would get over the line, and like I say, today with a game to spare, it has come to fruition. Nottingham Forest have secured their Premier League status. If you look at the Premier League table, you can see Nottingham Forest have jumped up to 37 points, which is incredible. Leeds United could still catch them as they're on 31 points with 2 games to spare, but Everton and Leicester City both can't catch them, so the lowest Nottingham Forest could finish this season is 17th. As I said, 35 to survive in the Premier League, and Nottingham Forest have blasted past that with this win against Arsenal. Let's cast our minds back over 18 months ago. I actually made a video on Nottingham Forest while they were in the bottom half of the Championship, saying this is why Nottingham Forest are going up. Now, what it was for me with Nottingham Forest is Steve Cooper. First of all, he is an absolutely exceptional manager, and I loved watching him at Swansea City. They got into the playoffs twice, and he really could be managing in the Premier League with Swansea City right now, but it didn't quite work out. But when he went into Nottingham Forest, you can see how he turned them around so quickly. Chris Hughton had that team bottom of the division, and he shot them up, and like I say, I backed them before they even got into the playoffs to go all the way up. They even nearly got into the top 2, but they did get into the playoffs. They did get promoted in the playoff final against Huddersfield, and coming into this season, it was always going to be difficult. Even though I rate Steve Cooper massively, they did have to bring in lots of players. They relied on quite a few loan players last season, and quite a lot of outsiders laughed at Nottingham Forest going after 30 players in the summer, but a lot of those players have paid off. Obviously some haven't, but we'll talk about some of the ones that did pay off later in the video. So coming into this Premier League season, Nottingham Forest was certainly going to be a tricky team to predict. Some people fancied them to go down, some people thought they might do alright. I had a bit of confidence in them. I knew it was going to be a difficult, slow start with so many players coming in and needing to gel, and they're a bit unfamiliar to the Premier League, but that can also work in their favour. Sometimes Premier League teams don't know what you're about and can't figure you out. But with Steve Cooper, who, like I said, I think is an exceptional manager, and a passionate fan base that were hungry for Premier League football after 23 years of waiting, I had a feeling that Nottingham Forest might just be able to click through the season, and I backed them to stay up. Now, after 10 games, they were the bookies' favourites to be relegated. They'd only picked up 1 win, and after that 4-0 defeat to Leicester City, the media were really trying to build some pressure on Steve Cooper being pushed out the door. But I think one of the biggest factors for Nottingham Forest staying up this season is sticking with Steve Cooper, even through hard times. Like I say, it was a slow start. They did actually pick up their form in the run-up to the World Cup and after the World Cup. Then they had another run of 8 or 9 games where they didn't pick up any wins, but they have ended the season incredibly well with 3 wins in their last 5. And that win against Arsenal may be the most impressive of all, as like I say, Arsenal were going for the Premier League title. It's been an incredible journey, and like I say, not many people that weren't Nottingham Forest fans haven't actually backed them to stay up much through the season. Lots of people have been writing them off to be relegated back down to the Championship, even coming into this penultimate weekend in their game against Arsenal. But like I say, they have done it with a game to spare, which I think is incredible, and it now means it's going to be 2 from the remaining 3 teams below them to be relegated. We'll address those teams, Everton, Leeds United and Leicester City, in a video coming up in a couple days time, but today we are focusing on Nottingham Forest. So like I say, Nottingham Forest went a bit crazy bringing in 30 players, and yes, some of them didn't work out. Jesse Lingard was certainly a letdown. Emmanuel Dennis didn't really live up to what I thought he could do, but let's talk about some of the players that have been key this season. Now, for the first half or even 2/3 of the season, I think Dean Henderson in goal was absolutely fantastic. And as for the recruitment replacing him once he got injured, I think Keylor Navas has come in and done a solid job. Yes, at times some of his goalkeeping has been a little bit questionable with some of his parries, but some games spring to mind. The home game against Leeds United, which was his debut, I thought he was sublime, and I'm sure it's been brilliant for Nottingham Forest to have his experience at the back and what he can offer to them. As for the back line, it's rotated a little bit through the season, but I think Serge Aurier has been a fantastic right back. I think Felipe coming in has been fantastic at the back. I think Joe Worrell's been very solid. Niakate and Bolly have also played a part. Nico Williams has also been a pretty nifty fullback to have at times as well. And on the left-hand side, Lodi has been very good as well. In the middle, I think Ryan Yates has climatised really well this season. I think Mangala's been pretty solid as well. Danilo's been very good coming in. He's been probably one of the key players in the second half of the season. Morgan Gibbs-White is maybe my personal favourite for Nottingham Forest. I think he offers a lot going forwards and he's a fantastic midfielder. Brennan Johnson's been so crucial with his goals this season. And Taiwo Awoniyi's really stepped up to the plate for Nottingham Forest, especially in the last few weeks when they really needed the goals and the pressure was on. He's delivered with those goals. I could be here all day long listing the amount of players that Nottingham Forest have used this season, and some of them have been fantastic that I haven't even mentioned. But the main man for me at Nottingham Forest, as I say, is Steve Cooper. I think that club is in safe hands with Steve Cooper. I almost draw parallels with my club, Coventry City, who are in such a safe pair of hands with Mark Robins. Steve Cooper has not just defied the odds by taking Nottingham Forest to the Premier League from the bottom of the Championship, but he's now kept them in the Premier League, like I say, when everyone was writing them off. I just think that combination of Steve Cooper and Nottingham Forest seem to work really well together. And like I say, he is that safe pair of hands, but he also deserved a shot at the Premier League, and it's really interesting that he got that shot with Nottingham Forest, and he's proved himself in the Premier League now. All I can say is I'm genuinely delighted for him because he is a hard-working, honest manager, and he really did deserve this shot at the Premier League, and he has proved his worth. The other people I'm really happy for are the Nottingham Forest fans. Like I say, this season was never going to be easy. There was times where things did look a little bit questionable, but I've stood by Nottingham Forest staying up this season, and most importantly, the majority of their fans have stood by Nottingham Forest staying up this season, even in the dark times when they've had bad form this season. So all I can say to summarise is congratulations Nottingham Forest, you have earned it, and that's made it 3 teams out of 3 that have survived, that have been promoted from last season. It's incredible. Fulham and Bournemouth also need to come in for a lot of credit, as well as Nottingham Forest, who came through the playoffs in the Championship. Not very often do the 3 teams that have come up stay up, so that's incredible to see. And all I can say as well is, those of you guys that went against me and thought Nottingham Forest was certainties to go down, where are you now? Nottingham Forest, it's going to be interesting to see where they can go next season. Can they push on in the Premier League now, or will it just be a case of consolidating again next year? Time will tell. If you've enjoyed this video, guys, and you've enjoyed the content through the season, like I say, please do make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Still one more week of the Premier League to go, and we'll talk about those teams still left in the relegation sandwich in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.